Question 1. In a case involving federal jurisdiction, the plaintiff is a resident of California while the defendant is a resident of Arizona. The plaintiff seeks to sue the defendant for breach of contract which arose from a transaction between the two parties conducted entirely within the state of Nevada. Which of the following is the most accurate statement regarding the subject matter jurisdiction of this case? A. The case qualifies for federal jurisdiction under diversity jurisdiction because the parties are from different states, even though the contract was formed in Nevada. B. The case qualifies for federal jurisdiction under diversity jurisdiction as the breach of contract occurred in Nevada and the transaction is relevant to the subject matter. C. The case does not qualify for federal jurisdiction because federal courts cannot diversity jurisdiction for breach of contract claims that arise outside of the state of the party's residence. D. The case qualifies for federal jurisdiction under supplemental jurisdiction since the claim is related to a contract formed in Nevada. Answer A. The case qualifies for federal jurisdiction under diversity jurisdiction because the parties are from different states even though the contract was formed in Nevada. Explanation. Under 28 U.S.C. SS 1332, federal diversity jurisdiction applies when the parties to lawsuit are citizens of different states and the amount in controversy exceeds $75,000. The location where the contract was formed, Nevada, does not impact the diversity requirement as the determining factor is the state of citizenship of the parties. Since the plaintiff is from California and the defendant is from Arizona, the case is eligible for diversity jurisdiction regardless of where the contract was executed. Additionally, the location of the breach, Nevada, is not the central issue in diversity jurisdiction. Question 2. While analyzing a complicated issue between different parties in a civil litigation case, the defendant files a motion for summary judgment claiming that there is no genuine dispute of material fact. The plaintiff argues that there are factual disputes regarding the parties' intentions during contract negotiations. Which of the following is the most accurate description of the standard for granting a motion for summary judgment under 56. A summary judgment should be granted if the moving party shows that no factual disputes exist regarding the essential elements of the case. B. Summary judgment should be granted only if the non-moving party fails to present any evidence on disputed facts, regardless of the nature of those facts. C. Summary judgment should be denied if there is any possibility that a jury might rule in favor of the non-moving party based on the disputed facts. D. Summary judgment should be denied if there is a genuine dispute over any material fact, even if the dispute is not central to the outcome of the case. And so a summary judgment should be granted if the moving party shows that no factual disputes exist regarding the essential elements of the case. Explanation. Under Rule 56 of the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure, summary judgment is appropriate when there is no genuine dispute as to any material fact and the moving party is entitled to judgment as a matter of law. The burden of proof lies with the moving party to demonstrate that the fact evidence viewed in the light most favorable to the non-moving party is insufficient to create a genuine issue for trial. If the plaintiff's argument hinges on disputed facts, such as the party's intentions, those disputes must be material, relevant to the legal issues at hand. Mere possibility of jury ruling differently is insufficient to defeat motion for summary judgment. Instead, genuine issue of material fact must exist. Question 3. During a pretrial conference, the judge decides to address whether a defendant can file an amended answer to include an affirmative defense not previously mentioned. The plaintiff objects, arguing that the amendment should not be allowed as it comes after the deadline. Under Rule 15 of the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure, which of the following is the correct interpretation regarding the amendment of pleadings? A. Amendments to pleadings are allowed as a matter of course within 21 days after serving the original pleading, even if the defendant is adding new affirmative defenses. B. Amendments are only allowed with the court's permission and are subject to the judge's discretion, particularly if the amendment adds new legal theories. C. Amendments are allowed as matter of course within 21 days of serving the answer, but only if the amendment does not introduce new defenses. D. Amendments are permitted only if the opposing party consents to the amendment, otherwise motion to amend must be filed. Answer. B. Amendments are only allowed with the court's permission and are subject to the judge's discretion, particularly if the amendment adds new legal theories. Explanation. Under Rule 15.8.2, party may amend its pleading only with the written consent of the opposing party or by leave of court. The the court should freely give leave when justice so requires, but the judge has discretion to deny the motion to amend if it would cause undue delay or prejudice to the opposing party. When an amendment introduces new defenses or legal theories, especially after the deadline set by the scheduling order, the judge may deny the request if it is seen as too late in the litigation process. Even if the defendant's amendment introduces valid defense, the court will weigh factors like timing and potential prejudice to the other party before granting leave to amend. Question 4. In a complex civil litigation case, the plaintiff is seeking to bring a class action under Rule 23 of the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure. The plaintiff argues that the class action should be certified because the case involves a common legal question that affects numerous individuals in similar circumstances. However, the defendant contends that the class does not meet the numerosity requirement and that individual issues predominate over common ones. Which of the following is the most accurate interpretation of the class action requirements under Rule 23A and the standards set forth by the courts? A. A class action can be certified only if the class is so numerous that joinder of all members is impracticable, but the court may still deny certification if common issues do not predominate over individual issues. B. A class action is automatically appropriate if the class consists of at least 100 members, as the numerosity requirement is presumed satisfied in all cases with this number. C. A class action is only appropriate if the court finds that individual issues of law and fact will be resolved similarly for all members, making it unnecessary to demonstrate numerosity. D. A class action can be certified regardless of the number of members, as long as the legal issues affecting the class are identical and individual damages do not require individualized determinations. Answer 8. A class action can be certified only if the class is so numerous that joinder of all members is impracticable, but the court may still deny certification if common issues do not predominate over individual issues. Explanation. Under Rule 23A, class actions require that the proposed class meet the numerosity, commonality, typicality, and adequacy of representation requirements. The numerosity requirement mandates that the is so numerous that it would be impracticable to join all members in the lawsuit. However, this is not a guarantee of class certification. The court must also determine whether common issues predominate over individual issues as set forth under Rule 23b(3). In some cases, even if numerosity is met, the court may deny certification if it finds that individual issues, such as damages, would overwhelm the common issues. Thus, it correctly addresses both the numerosity and predominance requirements. Question 5. During a trial, the plaintiff seeks to introduce evidence of prior settlements between the parties to establish the defendant's knowledge of the issues in dispute. The defendant objects, arguing that such evidence is inadmissible under the Federal Rules of Evidence. The court must decide whether the evidence of prior settlements is admissible to prove knowledge or for any other purpose. Which of the following statements correctly reflects the application of Federal Rules of Evidence regarding settlement negotiations and prior settlement agreements? A. Evidence of prior settlements is inadmissible to prove the defendant's liability or knowledge of the issues, but may be admissible to impeach the credibility of witness. B. Evidence of prior settlements is admissible to prove liability if the settlement agreement includes an admission of fault by the defendant. C. Evidence of prior settlements is generally admissible to prove knowledge or intent, as the exclusionary rule only applies to the settlement amounts. D. Evidence of prior settlements is not admissible for any purpose, including proving knowledge under the Federal Rules of Evidence. Answer A. Evidence of prior settlements is inadmissible to prove the defendant's liability or knowledge of the issues, but may be admissible to impeach the credibility of witness. Explanation. Under Federal Rule of Evidence 408, evidence of offers to settle or statements made during settlement negotiations is generally inadmissible to prove the validity or amount of claim. This rule is designed to encourage parties to engage in settlement discussions without the fear that their efforts will be used against them in court. Specifically, Rule 408 excludes settlement negotiations from being used to prove liability, fault, or knowledge of the issues in dispute. However, there are exceptions where such evidence may be admissible, such as to impeach witness or to prove the existence of settlement agreement itself, not to prove liability. Thus, option is correct because it aligns with the purpose and except to Rule 408. Question 6. In a case involving personal jurisdiction, the defendant argues that the court lacks personal jurisdiction over them, asserting that they do not have sufficient contacts with the forum state to satisfy the minimum contacts test. The plaintiff counters that the defendant's business activities in the forum state are enough to establish specific jurisdiction. What is the most accurate application of the International Shoe Company v. Washington minimum contacts test in determining whether the court has personal jurisdiction over the defendant? A specific jurisdiction requires that the defendant's contacts with the forum state be directly related to the cause of action, and the defendant must have purposefully availed themselves of the benefits of the forum state. B. Personal jurisdiction can be established based on any business activities in the forum state, even if those activities are unrelated to the cause of action. C. Minimum contacts for specific jurisdiction are only satisfied if the defendant has physical presence in the forum state, such as an office or store. D. Personal jurisdiction is not dependent on the nature of the defendant's contacts, but solely on whether the defendant was served with process within the forum state. Answer. A specific jurisdiction requires that the defendant's contacts with the forum state be directly related to the cause of action, and the defendant must have purposefully availed themselves of the benefits of the forum state. Explanation. Under International Shoe Company v. Washington, the U.S. Supreme Court established the minimum contacts test for determining whether court has personal jurisdiction over defendant. For specific jurisdiction, the defendant's contacts with the forum state must be purposefully directed toward that state and directly related to the plaintiff's claim. The defendant must have purposefully availed themselves of the benefits and protections of the forum state's laws. Mere business activities or physical presence in this, without direct connection to the underlying legal dispute, are generally insufficient to establish specific jurisdiction. Therefore, option is correct, as it reflects the essential principles of the minimum contacts test for personal jurisdiction. Question 7. During a complex litigation involving multiple defendants, the plaintiff seeks to amend their complaint under Rule 15 to add additional claims based on new evidence that was discovered after the original filing. The plaintiff argues that the amendment should be allowed because it would not unduly prejudice the defendants. The defendants object, arguing that the amendment would delay the proceedings and complicate the case. Which of the following is most accurate interpretation of the standard for granting leave to amend under Rule 15? A. A party may amend a pleading as a matter of course within 21 days of serving the original pleading, and leave to amend should be freely granted unless there is undue delay or prejudice to the opposing party. B. Amendments to pleadings can only be made with the consent of the opposing party, regardless of whether the amendment would cause any delay or prejudice. C. The court must deny a motion to amend if it believes the amendment would complicate case or cause significant delay, even if no prejudice to the opposing party is demonstrated. D. A court should deny leave to amend only if the plaintiff is seeking to add new claims that are unrelated to the original claims in the case. Answer. A. A party may amend a pleading as a matter of course within 21 days of serving the original pleading, and leave to amend should be freely granted unless there is undue delay or prejudice to the opposing party. Explanation. Under Rule 15a, 1. A party may amend their pleading as a matter of course within 21 days after serving the original pleading. After this period, under Rule 15a, 2, the court may allow amendments with leave, and such leave should be freely granted unless there is undue delay, bad faith, or prejudice to the opposing party. The court evaluates whether the amendment will delay the proceedings, prejudice the defendant, or result in inefficiencies. However, the mere fact that the amendment adds new claims or evidence is generally not enough to deny leave to amend if the other factors were in favor of the amendment. Therefore, option A correctly captures the standard for amending pleadings under Rule 15. Question 8. During the discovery process, the defendant objects to the plaintiff's request for the production of certain documents, asserting that the requested documents are protected by the work product doctrine. The plaintiff counters that the documents are not protected because they contain factual information rather than attorney opinions. Which of the following is the correct application of the work product doctrine under Rule 26b(3)? A. The work product doctrine protects all materials prepared by an attorney or their agent, regardless of whether the material is factual or opinion-based. B. The work product doctrine only protects materials that contain the attorney's mental impressions or opinions, but factual materials are not protected. C. The work product doctrine applies only to documents prepared in anticipation of litigation, regardless of whether the doc contains legal theories or factual information. D. Factual documents prepared by the attorney or agent in anticipation of litigation are not protected under the work product doctrine, but materials that contain opinions or legal theories are. Answer. B. The work product doctrine only protects materials that contain the attorney's mental impressions or opinions, but factual materials are not protected. Explanation. Under Rule 26b(3), the work product doctrine protects documents and tangible things prepared by a party or their representative in anticipation of litigation from discovery. However, the protection extends only to materials that reflect the mental impression, conclusions, opinions, or legal theories of an attorney or other representative. Factual materials, such as documents containing raw data or facts gathered during the litigation process, are not protected under the work product doctrine, even if they were prepared in anticipation of litigation. Therefore, if the documents requested by the plaintiff contain purely factual information, such as witness statements or investigative reports that were created as part of legal analysis or in anticipation of legal strategy, they are typically not protected by the work product doctrine. However, if the documents contain an attorney's mental impressions, opinions, or legal theories, they would be protected under this doctrine. Option B accurately captures the distinction between factual and opinion-based materials within the context of work product protection. Question 9. In a high-stakes environment where multiple challenges require coordination across departments, how should a project manager prioritize tasks when several key projects face overlapping deadlines? A. By assigning priority based on the department's historical success in meeting deadlines. B. By considering the strategic impact of each project on the organization's long-term goals. C. By deferring to department heads for individual task prioritization without central oversight. D. By assigning a first-come, first-served basis to each project regardless of importance. Answer. B. By considering the strategic impact of each project on the organization's long-term goals. Explanation. In a high-stakes environment, prioritization should be guided by strategic objectives. A focus on long-term goals ensures that the most impactful projects are addressed first. Option is incorrect because relying on historical success might not consider the current priority level. Option C overlooks the importance of centralized coordination in prioritizing resources. Option D is impractical as it ignores the strategic significance of each task. Question 10. During a comprehensive review of a process that needs improvement, which steps should be taken first when identifying potential areas for improvement in an established system? A. Immediately implement changes based on preliminary feedback. B. Conduct a detailed analysis of the current process, including feedback from all stakeholders. C. Focus on the most urgent and pressing issues, regardless of the broader process context. D. Revise the process based on suggestions from senior leadership without consulting lower-level employees. Answer. B. Conduct a detailed analysis of the current process, including feedback from all stakeholders. Explanation. The first step in improving a process is understanding the current state thoroughly. Engaging stakeholders ensures all perspectives are considered, enabling a comprehensive approach. Option is premature without first understanding the issues. Option C is too narrow, while option D may overlook insights from those most familiar with the daily process. Question 11. While investigating a complicated issue between different departments, how can a leader effectively mediate conflicting priorities to reach a common resolution? A. By imposing a top-down decision without seeking input from the departments involved. B. By fostering open communication and ensuring both sides feel heard before suggesting solutions. C. By delaying the decision until both departments resolve their differences independently. D. By supporting the department with the strongest case and dismissing the concerns of the other. Answer. B. By fostering open communication and ensuring both sides feel heard before suggesting solutions. Explanation. Effective mediation involves listening to all parties and working towards a mutually agreeable solution. Option A is overly authoritative and unlikely to resolve underlying issues. Option C could prolong the conflict, and option D risks creating further division. Question 12. In a situation where formal requirements conflict with practical limitations, how should a team navigate the decision-making process to balance both? A. Rigidly adhere to formal requirements, disregarding practical constraints. B. Seek a compromise by revising the formal requirements to reflect practical limitations while maintaining essential objectives. C. Ignore the formal requirements if they impede immediate progress. D. Defer the decision to upper management for resolution, avoiding direct involvement. Answer. B. Seek a compromise by revising the formal requirements to reflect practical limitations while maintaining essential objectives. Explanation. A balanced approach ensures both compliance with necessary formalities and the feasibility of execution. Option is inflexible, and option C dismisses the importance of the formal requirements. Option D avoids responsibility and may not result in a timely solution. Question 13. In a case where multiple parties have different objectives, how can a project manager ensure successful collaboration while maintaining alignment with overall goals? A. Set clear, non-negotiable objectives that leave no room for compromise. B. Encourage all parties to express their goals and find a shared vision that aligns with the overall objectives. C. Focus solely on the objectives of the most senior stakeholders. D. Allow each party to work independently without a centralized coordination plan. Answer: B. Encourage all parties to express their goals and find a shared vision that aligns with the overall objectives. Explanation: collaboration requires understanding and integrating various perspectives into a cohesive strategy. Option A might stifle collaboration, and option C neglects the importance of engaging all relevant stakeholders. Option D could lead to fragmentation and misalignment. Question 14. When implementing backup procedures across various departments to ensure business continuity, what is the first priority in the planning process? A. Developing the backup procedures without consulting department heads to ensure quick action. B. Identifying critical processes and ensuring that backup plans are in place for them first. C. Creating backup procedures that only address technical issues, ignoring organizational and human factors. D. Ensuring that backup plans are identical across all departments to simplify implementation. Answer: B. Identifying critical processes and ensuring that backup plans are in place for them first. Explanation: prioritizing critical processes ensures that the most important aspects of the organization can continue operating during disruptions. Option A might lead to rushed decisions, and option C ignores the importance of human and organizational readiness. Option D could overlook the unique needs of each department. Question 15. In an environment where different components must interact seamlessly to achieve a goal, what is the most effective way to ensure smooth integration? A. Implement the system and then address integration challenges as they arise. B. Thoroughly plan and test integrations before implementation, including input from all departments involved. C. Rely on one department to handle integration without involving other teams. D. Focus on only the most technologically advanced solution without considering compatibility. Answer: B. Thoroughly plan and test integrations before implementation, including input from all departments involved. Explanation: planning and testing integrations in advance minimizes the risk of issues during implementation. Option A can lead to costly problems later, and option C neglects the collaborative nature of integration. Option D may result in compatibility issues and inefficiency. Question 16. During a seamless transition where continuity must be maintained, how can an organization best support employees through the change process? A. By enforcing the new processes with minimal explanation to maintain momentum. B. By providing clear communication and training to ensure employees understand the changes. C. By delaying the transition until employees fully adapt to the new processes. D. By making the transition optional for employees, allowing them to choose whether to participate. Answer: B. By providing clear communication and training to ensure employees understand the changes. Explanation: effective change management involves clear communication and proper training to help employees adapt. Option A may result in confusion, while option C delays progress unnecessarily. Option D risks undermining the transition's success. Question 17. In a multi-location scenario where consistency requirements are critical, what should be prioritized to ensure uniformity across all locations? A. Allow each location to implement its processes independently without oversight. B. Establish standardized procedures and regular audits to ensure consistency across all locations. C. Rely solely on location managers to enforce consistency without formal guidance. D. Focus on flexibility and avoid enforcing strict rules that could hinder local adaptation. Answer: B. Establish standardized procedures and regular audits to ensure consistency across all locations. Explanation: standardized procedures combined with audits are essential to ensure consistency across multiple locations. Option A could lead to inconsistencies, and option C lacks sufficient oversight. Option D might compromise uniformity in critical areas. Question 18. When improving a process that shows unexpected results, what is the most effective initial step? A. Immediately change all variables in the process to address the issue. B. Analyze the data to identify patterns or anomalies before deciding on a course of action. C. Suspend the process entirely to prevent further errors. D. Focus only on the most apparent issue without considering the broader context. Answer. B. Analyze the data to identify patterns or anomalies before deciding on a course of action. Explanation. Understanding the underlying causes of unexpected results is crucial before implementing changes. Option A could lead to unnecessary disruptions, and option C may not be the most effective response if the process is still valuable. Option D might overlook other contributing factors. Question 19. When developing a solution that must address opposing needs from various stakeholders, how should a team approach the decision-making process? A. By selecting the solution that benefits the most influential stakeholder, disregarding others. B. By collaborating with all stakeholders to find a compromise that meets the most critical needs of each. C. By deferring the decision to the highest-ranking stakeholders without involving others. D. By focusing solely on one stakeholder group's needs to avoid conflict. Answer. B. By collaborating with all stakeholders to find a compromise that meets the most critical needs of each. Explanation. Effective solutions require collaboration and compromise to address the needs of multiple stakeholders. Option A ignores other important perspectives. Option C disregards valuable input, and option D could lead to imbalanced solutions. Question 20. When implementing new protocols in a shared environment, what is the best approach to ensure smooth adoption across all teams involved? A. Mandate the new protocols without offering training to ensure compliance. B. Conduct workshops and training sessions for all teams, allowing them to understand and discuss the new protocols. C. Implement the protocols quietly and address any concerns as they arise. D. Allow each team to modify the protocols as needed to suit their individual workflows. Answer. B. Conduct workshops and training sessions for all teams, allowing them to understand and discuss the new protocols. Explanation. Introducing new protocols successfully requires clear communication and training to ensure everyone is on the same page. Option A might lead to resistance due to lack of understanding. Option C may cause confusion and inconsistency, while option D could undermine the uniformity of the protocols. Question 21. During a major transformation where existing methods are no longer effective, how can an organization effectively manage the transition to new systems and practices? A. Implement the new system abruptly, expecting employees to adapt without preparation. B. Gradually introduce the new system while maintaining open communication about the changes. C. Rely solely on one department to manage the entire transformation. D. Continue using the old methods until the new system is fully tested and proven. Correct answer. B. Gradually introduce the new system while maintaining open communication about the changes. Explanation. A gradual and communicative approach helps employees adjust to the new system and minimizes resistance. Option A risks confusion and backlash. Option C does not account for the organization-wide impact, and option D delays necessary progress. Question 22. While analyzing the root causes of sequential problems in a process, what is the most effective way to ensure that all factors are considered? A. Focus only on the most recent issue, assuming it is the root cause. B. Collect and analyze data from each point in the process involving key stakeholders in the investigation. C. Look at each issue in isolation, addressing them without considering the broader context. D. Assume that the problems are unrelated and fix them individually. Answer. B. Collect and analyze data from each point in the process involving key stakeholders in the investigation. Explanation. A thorough analysis involves considering all data points and perspectives to identify interconnected causes. Option A ignores earlier problems that may contribute. Option C limits the analysis to isolated issues, and option D may miss underlying systemic issues. Question 23. In a high-stakes environment where multiple challenges require immediate action, what is the most effective way to manage team responses under pressure? A. Assign tasks based on hierarchy without considering individual strengths. B. Prioritize tasks based on urgency and the team's ability to execute them effectively. C. Allow the team to self-manage without providing clear direction or support. D. Delay action to assess the situation in more detail, hoping the issues resolve themselves. Correct answer. B. Prioritize tasks based on urgency and the team's ability to execute them effectively. Explanation. Prioritizing tasks based on urgency and the team's strengths ensures that critical issues are addressed swiftly and effectively. Option A may result in mismatched responsibilities. Option C could lead to chaos, and option D wastes valuable time. Question 24. In an environment where different components must interact seamlessly to achieve a goal, how can a project manager ensure that dependencies are properly managed? A. Ignore dependencies and allow teams to proceed independently, assuming any issues will be resolved later. B. Clearly map out all dependencies at the beginning of the project and monitor them throughout. C. Let team members decide which dependencies to prioritize based on personal judgment. D. Focus only on immediate tasks and address dependencies once the project is nearing completion. Answer. B. Clearly map out all dependencies at the beginning of the project and monitor them throughout. Explanation. Mapping out dependencies early and monitoring them ensures smooth coordination across teams. Option A could lead to delays and unforeseen complications. Option C lacks oversight, and option D risks missing critical integration points during the project's execution. Question 25. In a situation where resource allocation becomes a major constraint, how can an organization optimize its use of limited resources? A. Distribute resources evenly across all departments without considering individual needs. B. Prioritize resource allocation based on the strategic importance and potential return of each department or project. C. Reduce resources across the board, treating all departments equally. D. Wait until resources become even scarcer before taking action. Answer. B. Prioritize resource allocation based on the strategic importance and potential return of each department or project. Explanation. Prioritizing resources based on strategic needs ensures that the most impactful projects receive the necessary support. Option A overlooks the varying needs across departments. Option C could hurt critical areas, and option D delays necessary action. Question 26. While investigating a complicated issue between different departments, what approach should be taken to ensure that all perspectives are fairly represented? A. Assign blame to the department with the most visible issue and move forward. B. Hold open meetings where each department can present their side of the story and collaborate on finding a solution. C. Ignore the problem until it becomes large enough to demand immediate action. D. Ask only the department leaders for feedback, ignoring the input from team members. Answer. B. Hold open meetings where each department can present their side of the story and collaborate on finding a solution. Explanation. A collaborative approach where all departments are heard helps ensure that the root causes are understood and all perspectives are considered. Option A skips the crucial process of understanding the issue fully. Option C delays the problem's resolution, and option D excludes valuable input from staff. Question 27. During a seamless transition where continuity must be maintained across multiple systems, what is the most effective strategy to ensure minimal disruption? A. Implement the new systems in a phased manner, ensuring that the old systems are still operational during the transition. B. Transition all systems at once, hoping the new system works perfectly. C. Turn off all systems for a day to prevent any errors during the switch. D. Leave the old system running indefinitely and gradually reduce reliance on it. Answer A. Implement the new systems in a phased manner, ensuring that the old systems are still operational during the transition. Explanation. A phased approach allows for adjustments and troubleshooting without jeopardizing continuity. Option B is risky and could lead to significant disruptions. Option C unnecessarily halts operations, and option D delays the full adoption of the new systems. Question 28. When improving a process that shows unexpected results, how should an organization approach the identification of the root causes? A. Blame the process changes for the unexpected results without further analysis. B. Use data and feedback to analyze the process step by step, engaging relevant stakeholders to pinpoint areas of concern. C. Assume the results are a fluke and continue without making changes. D. Immediately change the entire process without understanding the underlying issue. Answer. B. Use data and feedback to analyze the process step by step, engaging relevant stakeholders to pinpoint areas of concern. Explanation. A detailed and methodical approach ensures that the root causes are accurately identified, allowing for effective adjustments. Option A hastily attributes blame without investigation. Option C ignores the issue, and option D risks making unnecessary changes without understanding the problem. Question 29. When dealing with a complex system that shows occasional failures, what is the best approach to ensure long-term stability and performance? A. Address each failure individually as it arises without analyzing patterns. B. Conduct regular maintenance checks, track failures over time, and identify patterns to implement preventive measures. C. Rely on troubleshooting only when the system fails without preemptive actions. D. Overhaul the entire system immediately, assuming that will resolve the issue. Answer: B. Conduct regular maintenance checks, track failures over time, and identify patterns to implement preventive measures. Explanation: regular checks and pattern recognition help address root causes and improve system stability. Option: addresses only symptoms. Option C: waits for failure to happen. And option D is an extreme reaction that might not be necessary. Question 30. In an environment where different components must interact smoothly to achieve common objectives, how can an organization ensure seamless coordination? A. Let individual components operate independently and only intervene when issues arise. B. Establish clear communication channels and set regular meetings to align objectives and progress across all components. C. Assume that all components will naturally align without explicit guidance. D. Limit interaction between components to avoid potential conflicts. Answer: B. Establish clear communication channels and set regular meetings to align objectives and progress across all components. Explanation: clear communication and regular check-ins help ensure that all components are working toward the same goals and are aware of each other's progress. Option: a risks misalignment. Option C overlooks the need for structured coordination, and option D might create silos that hinder cooperation.